Welcome to Family Writers Press International, the platform where the stories that define our generation are told with honesty, depth, and purpose. I am Lillian Uche, and today we bring you a special report that speaks to the heart of a people, a land, and a cause that refuses to be silenced. Across the southeast of Nigeria, a message continues to echo through the streets, the villages, the markets, and the homes of millions of people. That message is clear, it is resolute, and it is unwavering. There is no going back. Today, we take a closer look at what that declaration means, where it comes from, what it has cost, and why, after decades of pain and persistence, it still burns as brightly as ever. To understand the present, we must first confront the past. For the land of Biafra, the struggle is written in the blood of innocent souls, men, women, and children whose cries still echo from the ground beneath our feet. Between 1967 and 1970, a war was fought that claimed the lives of over 1 million people. Some estimates place that number far higher. Entire communities were wiped out, families were torn apart, children starved. And yet, the world largely looked away. The images of that era, the swollen bellies, the hollow eyes, the mass graves, are not merely historical footnotes. They are the foundation upon which the modern Biafran consciousness is built. Every generation that has come after carries that memory, not as a burden of defeat, but as a mandate for justice. And yet, through every trial, through every crackdown, through every attempt to suppress and silence, the resilience of the people remains unshaken. There is a song that has become the anthem of this movement, a song that speaks of the sun rising again, of a new dawn breaking over a land that has known too much darkness. That song is not wishful thinking. It is a declaration rooted in lived experience. The IPOB people have rebuilt from nothing before. They have risen from the ashes of war, reconstructed their communities with their own hands, and refused to accept the narrative that they are a defeated people. On this determined journey towards self-determination, hope is not a passive wish. It is an active, burning conviction that drives every step forward. From the streets of Owerri to the hills of Enugu, from the bustling markets of Aba to the historic bridges of Onitsha, the commitment to this journey is total, unwavering, and deeply personal. These are not abstract political positions debated in distant capitals. These are the convictions of farmers and traders, of teachers and students, of mothers and fathers who have watched their children grow up in a land that has never fully delivered on its promise to them. In every town and every village across the southeast, you will find people who carry this cause not as a political slogan, but as a spiritual inheritance, something passed down from generation to generation, something that cannot be legislated away, cannot be imprisoned, and cannot be killed. The international community has not been entirely deaf to these cries. Human rights organizations, diaspora groups, and independent journalists have documented the abuses, the extrajudicial killings, the arbitrary detentions, and the military operations carried out against unarmed civilians in the southeast. Reports from Amnesty International and other bodies have catalogued what many on the ground describe as a systematic campaign of terror against a people whose only crime is demanding to be heard. And yet, the Nigerian government continues to frame this as a security matter, a narrative that conveniently sidesteps the deeper political and historical questions that lie at the root of this crisis. At the center of this movement stands the indigenous people of Biafra, known widely as IPOB. Founded and led by Nnamdi kANU, IPOB has grown from a radio broadcast into one of the most significant self-determination movements on the African continent. Nnamdi kANU's voice, transmitted through Radio Biafra, reached into the homes and hearts of millions who had long felt abandoned by the Nigerian state. His arrest, his trial, his rearrest after a dramatic escape, and his continued detention have only deepened the resolve of his followers. To them, he is not merely a political leader. He is a symbol, a living embodiment of the price that must sometimes be paid for speaking truth to power. His supporters around the world continue to demand his unconditional release, arguing that his detention violates both Nigerian law and international human rights standards. One of the most visible expressions of this movement in recent years has been the sit-at-home order, a weekly observance, particularly on Mondays, in which businesses close, roads empty, and the southeast comes to a standstill. To outsiders, this may appear to be a disruption, but to those who observe it, it is an act of solidarity, a collective statement that cannot be ignored. It is a reminder that the people of the southeast have the power to shape their own reality, even within the constraints of a system that has historically marginalized them. Critics argue that the sit-at-home has caused economic hardship. Supporters counter that the hardship of silence and inaction would be far greater. This tension reflects the broader dilemma faced by any people engaged in a long struggle for recognition and rights. Beyond the borders of Nigeria, the Biafran cause has found a powerful voice in the global diaspora. From London to Houston, from Toronto to Dublin, from Johannesburg to Sydney, Igbo communities around the world have organized, fundraised, lobbied, and marched in support of self-determination. These are doctors, engineers, lawyers, academics, and entrepreneurs who carry the memory of Biafra in their DNA, even if they were born long after the war ended. They understand that the struggle is not simply about drawing new borders on a map. It is about dignity. It is about the right of a people to determine their own future, to govern themselves according to their own values, and to live free from the fear of persecution. Their voices add an international dimension to this story that cannot be dismissed. What does the path forward look like? That is the question that hangs over every conversation about Biafra and the Southeast. There are those who believe that the only acceptable outcome is full independence, a sovereign Biafran state with its own government, its own institutions, and its own place in the community of nations. There are others who argue for restructuring, a fundamental renegotiation of the terms of Nigeria's federation that would give the Southeast and other regions genuine autonomy, genuine resource control, and genuine political representation. And there are those who simply want security, an end to the killings, the disappearances, and the military operations that have turned parts of the Southeast into a war zone. Whatever the path, one thing is clear: the status quo is not sustainable. Something must change, and the people of the Southeast are determined to be the ones who shape what that change looks like. History teaches us that no struggle of this magnitude is resolved quickly. The road to justice is long, and it is rarely straight. But history also teaches us that peoples who hold fast to their identity, who refuse to be erased, who continue to tell their own stories in their own words, those peoples endure. The Biafran cause has survived war, blockade, starvation, military crackdowns, and decades of political marginalization. It has not only survived, it has grown. It has found new voices, new platforms, and new generations of advocates who were not even alive when the war ended, but who feel its weight as though it happened yesterday. That is the power of a cause rooted not in politics alone, but in the deepest sense of who a people are and who they intend to become. As we close today's report, we want to acknowledge every man and woman who has paid a price for standing on the right side of history. We acknowledge the mothers who have buried their children, the fathers who have searched for sons who never came home, the young people who have chosen conscience over comfort and conviction over conformity. Your stories matter. Your sacrifices are not forgotten. And as long as Family Writers Press International has a platform, we will continue to amplify your voices, document your truth, and hold accountable those who would prefer the world did not know what is happening in the southeast of Nigeria. The sun will shine again. Of that we have no doubt. I am Lillian Uche. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, stay engaged, and never stop demanding the truth.